SiriusXM NASCAR Radio.
NASCAR News now.
2 weeks, 2 wins for William Byron. He followed up his victory last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with a win Sunday in the United Rentals Work United 500 at Phoenix Raceway. On the SiriusXM NASCAR Radio post-race show, the Hendrick Motorsports driver said, not surprisingly, he feels his team has a lot of momentum.
I'm really confident right now internally. You know, I try not to let the external factors control that too much, but it's taken a lot of work to get to this point. A lot of work behind the scenes, but feel internally motivated, internally confident, and that carries a long way, no matter the circumstance.
Crew Chief Rudy Fugle, also on the post-race show, tipped his cap to not just his driver, but to his team on pit road.
This team never gives up. William never gives up. They gave us a shot at the front row and a second chance at the restart, and he did it. So just super proud of everybody. A good car today. We didn't keep up with the track as good and we didn't have the car we needed as the track progressed and degraded. So we got a little bit of work to do to be as good as that 4, but we were good enough to win today.
Byron led 2 times for 64 laps on his way to his 6th career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, the pole sitter, and Kevin Harvick rounded out the top 5, with Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, and Josh Berry in for Chase Elliott, completing the top 10. The West Coast swing is over. It's now back to the East Coast on Sunday. Atlanta Motor Speedway next up for the Cup Series. The Performance Racing Network will have the coverage, and you'll hear it here live on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Catch Shine on Sports with Adam Shine today, as Shine is all over the unofficial start of NFL free agency. Shine breaks down the quarterback carousel, the biggest names to hit the open market, and which teams to watch as the offseason is about to get wild in the NFL. Listen to Shine on Sports today at 9 Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, and on the SXM app, included with all of our trials and popular plans. That's the Morning Drive News for Monday, March 13th, 2023. I'm Pete Pistone.
Now, the Morning Drive. SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
27 before the top of the hour. We're back on the Morning Drive. We're so glad you're with us here on this Monday morning. Coming up in a moment, checker flags and black flags. Before we embark upon that process, I just want to just do a little check-in. How's everybody doing with daylight saving time kicking in on Saturday? Am I all right this morning? We're good to go?
I'm all right. Sammy, are you all right? I mean, like last night I was watching the Oscars, and I did feel like it was over 10 Central Time and change, and it was only in my head 9. So I had a little trouble going to bed last night. But other than that, I've been okay. Sammy, what about you?
I had a dream last night that I overslept, woke up, and it was 8:45 in the morning on Monday, and I had left Melvin to do all the pre-show work and to
Poor Melvin.
to do everything. I woke up then at 4:45 this morning. Still slightly oversleeping from what I normally do. My emergency alarm was going to wake me up, and then I woke myself up in a fit of terror. So, yeah. I don't do well with stuff like this. Not good.
But if you overslept, you would have been early because the clocks went forward, right? Isn't that how that happens?
I don't know.
Because right now it would be 7 o'clock. Well, I guess no. I guess you would be.
It would have been. Yeah, I would have overslept. And in my dream, I texted Dom. It was like 8:45, and I was like, "Oh, dude, my bad. I overslept. I'm not coming in today." And I was just like, "Man, that would just not fly if that ever would have tried to happen." So good thing it didn't happen. But yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm fine.
I'm most intrigued about Sammy's backup alarm plan, Baggy. That was the part of the story that interested me. You have a backup alarm system, Sam?
I do not need an alarm to wake up.
Yeah.
My body has, my grandma's the same way. My mom is the same way. I do not need an alarm. If I need to wake up at 4:30 or 4:45, my body wakes me up at 4:30 or 4:45. I've, knock on wood, never overslept for this show. Like, long,
internal clock.
I just can't do it. But I do have an emergency 5 a.m. alarm that in case I ever do is there. I almost got to it today, but luckily I didn't. So.
Yeah. How you making out there, big boy? Everything all right, Baggy?
I'm okay. It was good having light until about 7:15 last night, but it was kind of weird because I wasn't really tired when I went to bed. But it's like, okay, I got to go to bed. It's like we got to shut this thing down.
Right.
It's going to be a little adjustment process because the days are going to continue to get longer and longer. But I'm good. No real issues over there. I have backup alarms too, so I never sleep to the alarm. But I have alarm that goes off at 3:55, 4 o'clock, and 4:05. Every day. just like clockwork.
I have a built-in alarm.
But
too.
you'll have that when you use the clock to do this.
Yes, you will. My built-in alarm clock is called my bladder. That's my backup.
I don't want to get old, man.
I gotta go. So I gotta get up. I might as well get up. Why not?
Well, we're up, and if you're just getting up, welcome to another day. We're talking about the events of the weekend at Phoenix Raceway, and of course, it is this time of the show on a Monday where we ask you for your checkered flags and black flags. 866-PIT-LATE. You can also tweet them to us at SiriusXM NASCAR, hashtag TMD NASCAR. Petey, we'll start with you. What caught your fancy and what didn't pass muster?
You know, I think there's a lot of candidates, in my opinion, for checkered flags this week. I think there's a lot of things that happened over the weekend that would certainly warrant someone giving somebody or something a checkered flag. But I'm gonna boil mine down to yesterday in the Cup Series, and I'm gonna give it to the guy who only has filled in now 2 times for Chase Elliott. I'm gonna give it to Josh Berry, Baggy, and Sammy, and Melvin, and everybody listening. A top 10 finish for Josh Berry yesterday. And, you know, we know what happened the week before, how the accident with Chase Elliott took place, and they were scrambling to find a replacement. They had Josh. He had never been in one of these next-gen Cup cars before, and getting acclimated and seated and feeling comfortable inside the race car. You know, just go out there and make all the laps, and that's basically what he did. Well, here you are 1 week later, and he finished in the top 10. No, I think part of that certainly is just how good Hendrick Motorsports was out there yesterday, as they were the week before. But you still had to really, I was really impressed with what Josh did yesterday. Bring that car home, not just in one piece and make all the laps, but get another top 10 finish for Hendrick Motorsports and come home the way he did out there in the number 10 position. So he gets my checkered flag. My black flag, there's a couple ways to go, and I'm going to give the black flag to a team that I'm disappointed. I know they're disappointed. I wanted to see more. I didn't expect them to be up there running in the top 10 or winning races, but I did expect them to see a little bit more progress, and that's Legacy Motor Club. You know, another week where we saw a decent qualifying run for Eric Jones, and he just wasn't able to kind of bring it home the way he did 21st yesterday. Noah Gregson, 29th. It just doesn't feel like they're making those forward steps that I thought they would at the end of last year. So that might be a team, too, guys, that is probably happy to see the West Coast swing go away, because we hear the big teams say, wow, what a huge challenge it is to be on the West Coast. I think coming back to the East Coast is probably a pretty good tonic for Legacy Motor Club after a not-so-memorable West Coast swing, including what they did yesterday at Phoenix Raceway.
I hear you, and I'll put everybody in that boat. It's like they don't say anything until we ask them, but I know these teams are just beaten, and it's been that way for a month. It's the thrash to get to Daytona, the events of Speed Weeks, then right back from that and right out west, Fontana, then Vegas, then Phoenix, coming back east, and at least, you're going to Coda in a couple of weeks, few weeks or whatever, but at least you got a little time to at least get your bodies back on a right clock instead of bouncing back and forth between time zones, because there is an impact going out there. So, I would say that Legacy Motor Club is in, I don't want to say hit a reset button, but get back home, settle, take a breath, and then go to Atlanta this coming weekend. Sammy, what do you have?
Checkered flag for me. I am not going to go with the Hendrick Motorsports folks, just because I feel like there's a lot of checkered flags going to give there. A lot of people are going to be giving that today. I'm going to go with the 12 car in Ryan Blaney. And because the conversation on this channel last week, and quite frankly in social media and amongst other media members, I don't want to say it was negative towards Ryan Blaney, but he was critiqued a lot last week for lack of performance, just a lot of stuff. Fairly, I believe, and some people might believe it's unfair, but for the most part, I believe the criticisms were fair. For him to go and get a second-place finish at Phoenix, I think, was a big deal for him, for that team. Just kind of a shot in the arm, something that they might have needed. Now, he has to go. He's got to get a win here at some point coming up, obviously. But, after a week of him being in the conversation quite a bit, at least on our show and on this channel and throughout social media, a good response to finish in second place, I thought, from Ryan Blaney yesterday.
But does he have to get a win?
Yes.
Because last year he didn't and still made it to the playoffs without one.
Right. To make the playoffs, he might not need a win to, prove that he is more than just what he is now as a race car driver, to be an elite race car driver, he needs to get more wins. And people think that he is an elite race car driver. People want him to be an elite race car driver. It would be good for the sport for him to be one, I think, too, because of his popularity, his personality, and things like that. But he just hasn't quite taken that step yet, and he has to start winning more races, multiple races in a year, and I think maybe this second place at Phoenix, Pete, is a step in that right direction for him.
Well, I would hope so, and I will reiterate what you said. I felt like the conversation last week was a fair assessment, and you just said it. Ryan Blaney himself has said he doesn't want to be the guy known for just winning a race a year. He wants to win multiple races, like he did a few years ago when he won 3 times with Todd Gordon as his crew chief. So, yes, he has to win at least a race, and I think he's got to win multiple races to keep himself in where he should be, that upper echelon of drivers in the Cup Series. And a second, there was a point yesterday, guys, I thought for sure we were going to see the 12 car in victory lane. So that's a good sign. Let's see if they can build on that going forward.
Black flag for me is going to go to it's going to go to Denny Hamlin on the final restart. Him and Ross Chastain, it must just be the ones that want to just touch each other all the time or something. I don't know what the heck is going on. How do they find each other on the track?
I don't know.
All the time. But Hamlin smashing up into Chastain, got into the wall. They both finished in the 20s. Hamlin wound up with a 23rd. Chastain finished with a 24th place finish, which, by the way, with Denny crashing into Chastain, that let his best friend, the hack, Alex Bowman, take the points lead. So, Denny just all over it there. And he also, again, this doesn't really matter to anybody, but I picked Ross Chastain to win the race, and he door-banged Chastain and dropped him back to 20-something, and now I've lost the points lead to Baggy, which we'll get to a little bit later on in the show. So, a little personal stuff right there, but we're 4 races into it, and we already got the 11 and the 1 going back to where they were, kind of. Chastain was unhappy with it, obviously, so I don't think it was necessarily intentional, like, I want to go ahead and do all this stuff, but it happened again anyway, so let's see if the list continues. Denny Hamlin's list, Electric Boogaloo, here we go again. Like, we're just going to go all over again with this.
The sequel.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Sequel.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Well, we saw what happened on the last lap. So what led up to that? Because I just don't think Denny's just going to go wacky out of nowhere. You almost got to poke him a little bit. So what happened? We weren't shown that. We were shown the last lap, and I saw the in-cars on social media when we were done.
Yeah.
Before I make a judgment on that, I would want to know, did anything happen leading up to that, to where Denny felt moved to do what he did? Because he not only got into the wall with him in 1 and 2, he let him know it, down the back stretch and going into 3. And he was still at it pretty hard, coming to the checkered flag, actually coming to the white flag, I believe it was.
But it just goes back to it, though, that they'll find each other. They could be in 1st and 2nd. They could be in 15th and 16th. They could be in 33rd and 32nd. And these guys are going to find each other at some point and inevitably crash into each other, it feels like. And I don't get it. I don't understand how that happens.
I'll say what I said last year. You're not going to win races. You're not going to win a championship if you keep having just a beef with a certain guy. Here's the bottom line for me, guys. Denny Hamlin started 2nd, and he finished 23rd. Ross Chastain started 6th, and he finished 24th. So I don't know what went on. To your point, Bagman, I didn't even see it until Davey put it up on social media and retweeted it, what happened from the in-car. So maybe as we go along this week, we'll get a little more context from those boys about what got under their skin, but it manifested itself certainly on the last lap yesterday.
And Denny was up front with Christopher Bell in the top 5, top 6 for the majority of the race, too. So obviously that late race caution not only plaguing Kevin Harvick, but possibly some other drivers as well there at the end of the race.
Well, speaking of Ross Chastain, that leads me to my black flag. And I'm going to give my black flag to Trackhouse Racing. They were kind of flat yesterday. They didn't set the world on fire. Ross led 1 lap. Not a very good day. Daniel finished in 22nd. Ross finished in 24th. But, Pete, I thought that Trackhouse would have been a bigger factor. Not saying that they were bad by any means. Maybe they didn't have the cars to their liking with this new aero package. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna totally, diss them. But I've gotten used to seeing them up front. And yesterday, I didn't get a whole lot of that.
No, I was surprised by that. I was surprised by Daniel Suarez. Yesterday on Fantasy Racing Preview, we were talking about him. He had said over the weekend he felt like his race car was better than the one they had last year at Phoenix. So I thought he was really poised for a good run yesterday. I think he was plus 800 for a top 3 finish yesterday. Didn't come remotely close to that. And we just talked about what happened to Ross there at the end. He and Denny Hamlin getting together. And when the checkered flag flew, there was Ross Chastain in 24th position on Sunday.
My checkered flag, I was going to go Josh Berry, and then that was, we already hit that already. I was going to go Alex Bowman, but I'm like, no, well, we'll get to that a little later. But this is a guy that we talked about last week that needed a good run, and in my opinion, he got it. And that's Ryan Preece. He finished 12th yesterday, on the heels of finishing 36th, 33rd, and 23rd.
Yeah.
And while all the Stewart-Haas racing cars weren't lumped together, I thought Stewart-Haas had a pretty decent day yesterday. You have Eric Almirola, who had the wheel issue, but you got Preece that is able to rally back to 12. Chase Briscoe finished inside the top 10. Kevin Harvick finished inside the top 5. So I think overall, Stewart-Haas racing could have been better, but could have been a whole lot worse. But Ryan Preece has been off to a rough start this year. And just to make it to the end, Petey, make it to the end and finish inside of the top 15, I would say that's almost like a top 5 or a top 10 to that team. So good run for the 41 car yesterday.
Yeah, and Ryan started 25th, so he shaved about half of where he was out in terms of the finishing position. And I'm glad you brought up Chase Briscoe, who won this race a year ago. He had a decent run, and then Eric Almirola, unfortunately for Eric, the wheel came off that race car. There'll be penalties there. But bottom line is, with Harvick leading the way, there was a little bit more from Stewart-Haas Racing, which we really haven't seen much here in 2023 for it to turn out that way.
866 Pit Lane, 866-748-5263. Hit us up with your checker flags and black flags. You can also tweet them to us at SiriusXM NASCAR, hashtag TMD NASCAR. TMD is brought to you in part by our friends at COTA. NASCAR returns to Circuit of the Americas in Austin with more racing, more entertainment, and more fun. March 24th through 26th. It's a 3-day motorsports phenomenon that features a monster road course with 20 turns, dramatic elevation changes, and 3.41 miles. Fancy footwork is mandatory. Body blows are guaranteed. And in the end, grit and determination will earn stars their stripes. This affordable weekend kicks off with FIVO Friday, followed by a double feature on Saturday. That includes the Expel 225 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race and the Pit Boss 250, presented by USA Today NASCAR Xfinity Series race. The weekend culminates with the can't-miss Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix Cup Series race on Sunday, featuring NASCAR superstars like Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Kevin Harvick, and defending race winner Ross Chastain. It's more than just racing. Experience a free camper party Friday night along with the ATX Barbecue Cook-Off. Plus, check out the Fan Zone all weekend featuring the Lone Star Sideshows and so much more. Then, Sunday, 3-time Grammy winner Darius Rucker headlines the pre-race concert. Go to NASCAR at COTA.com for all the details and to purchase tickets.